After the real estate crash, China's next crisis is ready to unfold. Whether China's current crisis is deflation or inflation, observers have different views. However, they all agree that China's economy is in a depression and becoming increasingly dangerous. Well-known professional investor Belz recently wrote that the real estate crisis is just the beginning. If it is not resolved, it will inevitably escalate into a financial crisis. Belz wrote that China's real estate bubble is the largest asset bubble in human history, once valued as high as 450 trillion yuan. Now that the bubble has burst and prices have collapsed, this is a major historical event that has changed the world. Any decision that ignores this context is dangerous. China's current economic difficulties seem to stem from weak consumption. But why is consumption low and demand sluggish? The reason is that residents have overdrawn their future income for decades and must now repay their debts, leaving no money for consumption. At present, the government shows no sense of crisis and has not taken timely action. Therefore, the crisis continues to worsen, and it will eventually lead to a sharp increase in bad bank debts, evolving into a financial crisis. Belz explained that if residents have no money, the supply side will go bankrupt, and real estate debt defaults will trigger a chain reaction. In the end, everyone will owe the bank. Banks' business models often involve more than 10 times leverage. If banks lose 10% of their assets, when multiplied by 10 times leverage, they would theoretically go bankrupt. In fact, just over 20 years ago, all Chinese banks were technically bankrupt and insolvent. Few remember this period of history, but it seems about to repeat itself. China's economic depression has led to social changes. On September 8th, social media reported that a Meituan delivery rider in Shanghai held a sign on Nanjing East Road, calling for the establishment of a trade union. His sign read, "The Times are calling for China's Martin Luther King, and we want our own trade union, our own spokesperson for our interests, and an 8-hour workday." This is what the CCP fears most. Additionally, the economic depression has provided an opportunity for Xi Jinping's political enemies. The CCP is in a state of anxiety. Ming Zhuzheng, an honorary professor of the Department of Political Science at National Taiwan University, analyzed on a live program on the 10th that Xi Jinping began preparing for war after consolidating power. He primarily did 4 things. First, he engaged in a trade war with the United States. Second, he took over Hong Kong, causing foreign capital to flee, leaving Hong Kong no longer able to generate wealth. Third, he imposed lockdowns for 3 years, pushing small and medium-sized enterprises to the brink. And fourth, he promoted the state's advancement while private enterprises retreated, all of which led to China's rapid economic decline. Professor Ming Zhuzheng said that once the economy is depressed, society stagnates, and unemployment follows. When unemployment becomes severe, the crime rate will rise, society will become unstable, and political problems will emerge. The Communist Party has always been ruthless in political struggles. Recently, rumors have spread, all pointing in one direction, hoping for Xi Jinping's downfall. Anti-Xi forces are lurking behind these efforts. Xi Jinping is aware of those opposing him, which has led him to intensify his purges and become more suspicious. Professor Ming said that the CCP has fallen into this vicious cycle of internal struggles, and the only remaining question is who will take the first step. If Xi Jinping wants to save himself, his only option may be to abandon communism. China's housing market crashes, owners strongly dissatisfied. On September 7th, the poor construction quality of Phase 3 of Sunac Airport Chenyuan in Zhengzhou, Henan, sparked strong dissatisfaction among homeowners. During the rights protection process, many homeowners were forcibly taken onto buses by the police, drawing significant public attention. At the same time, the Hangzhou housing market has once again become a focal point, with second-hand homes in many areas experiencing a break-in issue, meaning that the selling prices of second-hand homes are lower than the purchase prices of new ones. Some homeowners even reduced their prices by as much as 1 million yuan in less than a month, causing heated discussions in the market. According to the Chongqing Evening News, this phenomenon is no longer new in Hangzhou. It has occurred in multiple districts such as Taoyuan, Zhenbei New Town, and Future Science and Technology City. The Taoyuan district is a typical example of Hangzhou's new homes experiencing a break-in issue. Henning Hangyue Mansion was delivered in February this year, and after delivery, some landlords sold their units at prices lower than new homes. The price limit for finely decorated units in Hangyue Mansion is 34,000 RMB per square meter, but the current average price is only 33,000 RMB per square meter, and the average transaction price is as low as 26,000 RMB per square meter, significantly lower than new home prices. According to the report, an owner in Beiyuechao Mansion in Xiaoshan City recently sold his home at a loss of nearly 300,000 RMB. He explained that he was upgrading his home because the prices of both new and second-hand houses were falling. Many agents pointed out that in the current market environment, where supply exceeds demand, it is difficult for second-hand homes that have broken issue prices to stand out, and prices are still declining. Netizens expressed mixed opinions about this trend, noting that current housing prices have fallen to match new home prices, and questioned the possibility of a market recovery. Many netizens believe that buyers purchasing now might face further declines, leaving the future of the housing market uncertain. Guangzhou real estate company R&F Properties has overdue debts, exceeding 27.6 billion yuan. Founded in 1994 and headquartered in Guangzhou, R&F Properties was listed in Hong Kong in 2005. Once known as one of the 5 tigers of South China real estate companies, R&F Properties has now fallen into financial difficulties. On September 11th, Guangzhou R&F Properties Comshi Ltd issued a statement disclosing the overdue status of some of its debts, revealing that approximately 27.6 billion yuan of interest-bearing debts were overdue. According to the announcement, as of June 30th, 2024, R&F Properties had overdue interest-bearing debts, including an 8.454 billion yuan balance on bank loans, a 12.588 billion yuan balance on loans from non-bank financial institutions, and a 6.570 billion yuan balance on other interest-bearing debts. These overdue amounts are due to both principal and interest not being repaid by their respective due dates. R&F Properties also mentioned in the announcement that the company is actively communicating with creditors, addressing their concerns, formulating and implementing solutions, and continuously working to resolve the overdue debt situation. Just 1 month ago, R&F Properties issued a notice regarding overdue US dollar bonds on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. At that time, the announcement stated that 3 priority notes issued overseas by R&F Properties subsidiary, Yilway Co. Ltd., were due for cash payment on July 11th of this year, with a 30-day grace period. However, due to the group's cash flow pressures, the interest has not yet been paid. The total interest owed amounts to 147 million US dollars. Experts: China's rich have become a dangerous group. The dynamics of China's wealthy and their ranking have become a key indicator for the outside world to observe changes in its market. Recently, an economic expert wrote an article pointing out that under China's anti-corruption and common prosperity policies, the rich have become a dangerous group. Ruchir Sharma, chairman of Rockefeller International, and an economist who once served as a senior executive at Morgan Stanley, recently wrote an article in the UK's Financial Times titled, "Getting Rich in China is no longer glorious, but very dangerous," analyzing the frequent changes among China's richest individuals over the past month. The author used the disappearance of Alibaba founder Jack Ma from the wealth rankings as an example, suggesting that China's shift from the glory of getting rich during the Deng Xiaoping era to the dangers of wealth accumulation in the Xi Jinping era is tied to the government's promotion of targeted policies such as anti-corruption campaigns and common prosperity over the past decade. The article highlighted that due to the dangers of being too wealthy, 15,000 Chinese millionaires emigrated abroad last year. Many of China's rich have also avoided becoming the country's richest person to escape public scrutiny. Common prosperity makes the rich tremble. In November 2022, Common Prosperity was officially written into the report of the 20th National Congress of the Communist Party of China. In that report, Xi Jinping, leader of the Communist Party of China, stated, "Chinese-style modernization is modernization with a huge population scale, and modernization of common prosperity for all people." The French newspaper Le Monde recently reported that most of China's wealthy have realized that it is wise to maintain a low profile or emigrate, as billionaires Pan Shiyi and Zhang Xin have done. The report noted that most of China's billionaires have either been targeted for rectification or found ways to become less conspicuous. For instance, Jack Ma, the founder of e-commerce giant Alibaba, has remained silent since disappearing for 3 months in 2020, while retail tycoon Wang Jianlin has also kept a low profile. Both Ma and Wang were once the richest people in China and even Asia. But now the title of richest person inspires fear, not pride. The report also mentioned that Xi Jinping's Common Prosperity campaign affects not only billionaires, but also professionals in money-related fields. For at least a year, China's major banks have been under orders from the Communist Party to reduce top executives' salaries, and in some cases, executives have been asked to return bonuses. Since August, at least 3 investment banking executives have been detained. As China's slowing economic growth, particularly the decline in housing prices, has caused households to lose confidence in the future and reduce spending, the government is now making it clear that those who have benefited the most are in its sights.
China's economy is in serious recession, and local governments are heavily in debt. To increase financial revenue, the government has arbitrarily collected fees from people, leading to countless fines of thousands of yuan, unpaid wages in state-owned and private enterprises, unemployment, and widespread bankruptcies. Chinese people are protesting more strongly than ever for their future, and everything seems to be at a turning point for a major change in China. During the week from July 2 to 9, as the third plenary session of the 18th Central Executive Committee was about to take place, the CCP increased efforts to maintain stability, leading to tight security everywhere. In Beijing, many military armored vehicles appeared, causing a lot of speculation. However, a large number of rights defenders still took to the streets to fight for their rights despite the pressure. In Luoding, Guangdong, sanitation workers went on strike to demand wages and social security. In Ningbo, Shaoxing, and Wenzhou, Zhejiang, workers launched rights protection actions because their bosses laid off employees in disguise and owed wages. In Fujian, Gansu, Liaoning, and other places, farmers held protests because the local government demolished their homes without proper resettlement and provided poor-quality resettlement housing. In Shanghai and Hubei, investors of Haiyan Wealth and Yongbida held rallies to recover their investment funds. In Hebei, Hunan, Liaoning, and other places, there were also many incidents of homeowners' rights protection being suppressed by the police. Workers. In Luoding, Guangdong, on July 12, more than 100 sanitation workers in Luoding City, Yanfu, Guangdong, went on strike collectively due to being owed 4-month wages and 1 month social security. In Yancheng, Jiangsu, on July 12, Runyang Photovoltaic Technology Company Ltd. in Jianhu County, Yancheng, Jiangsu Province, laid off employees in disguise with low wages to evade compensation, triggering a collective strike by workers. The local government dispatched police to the scene and snatched a worker's mobile phone. Jiangsu Runyang New Energy Technology Company Ltd. was established in 2023 and specializes in the research, development, manufacturing, and application of solar monocrystalline PERC cells. In Zhongmen, Guangdong, on July 11, the boss of Xinhui Wood Industry Company Ltd. in Xinhui District, Zhongmen, Guangdong, ran away with the money, and hundreds of workers and suppliers gathered at the factory to demand wages and payments. Xinhui Wood Industry Company Limited was established in 2021 and is located in Xinhui District, Jiangmen City, Guangdong Province. The legal representative is Qiu Changzhong. In Zhejiang, Shaoxing. On July 12, in Qiqiao District, Shaoxing, Zhejiang, the boss of Dongsheng Printing and Dyeing Company Ltd., which was facing bankruptcy, forced employees to resign voluntarily with low wages to avoid compensation. After the employees blocked the door to protest, he colluded with the police to arrest the employees. The factory has a different explanation every 2 days. At first, they said in the morning that they might go back to work in the evening after receiving notice. In the afternoon, they said that they couldn't open the door and asked everyone to write a resignation report. The employees asked for an explanation, but they just perfunctorily dealt with it. Today, they asked employees to resign in disguise. 70 yuan a day, clocking in the morning and evening, asking for an explanation at the door, and the police station took people away. Tell me, what can you do with 70 yuan a day now? We all come out to work and have parents and children to support. In Wenzhou, Zhejiang, employees strike collectively after the shoe factory owes wages for 2 months. From July 12 to 13, the boss of 5-star Golden Shark Industrial Company Ltd. In Ubei District, Wenzhou, Zhejiang, did not pay wages for 2 months, and the employees went on strike collectively for 2 consecutive days. In Ningbo, Zhejiang, on July 12, workers at Tianan Electric Group Company in Shongshan County, Ningbo, Zhejiang, blocked the factory building to protest the company's refusal to compensate workers after bankruptcy. According to workers, the company has currently stopped paying wages and social security. Ningbo Tianan Electric Company Ltd. Was established in 1969. It was formerly the state-owned Shongshan High Voltage Electric Factory and was converted into a joint stock enterprise in 1994. Farmers. In Fumeng, Liaoning, villagers blocked the road to protest the withholding of land benefits. On July 8, in Shiguan Village, Fumeng County, Fushan, Liaoning, villagers launched a rights protection action because their monthly land benefits of 800 yuan were withheld, blocking traffic near the village. In Min County, Gansu, villagers went to the county government to protest against the increase in resettlement housing prices and were suppressed. On July 10, in Lijiazhuang, Shili Town, Min County, Dingxi, Gansu, Shili Town Secretary Yang Zhenming suddenly changed the villagers' geological disaster relocation houses into commercial houses and increased the price by more than 300,000 yuan. When the villagers went to the Min County government to protest, they were suppressed by the police and many people were arrested. Min County Shili Town Political Secretary Yang Zhenming covered the sky with one hand. The geological disaster risk avoidance relocation houses were renamed as commercial houses. He used the people's money to build houses. When the houses were half built, the price suddenly increased by more than 300,000 yuan. The originally poor families made us ordinary people even worse. Many people came to the village today, and the police arrested villagers. Spread positive energy. In Xi'an, Shanxi, on July 13, in Dongjia Group, Tunliu Village, Zuyang Township, Lintong District, Xi'an, Shanxi, the local government expropriated the village but refused to resettle the villagers due to the construction of a high-speed railway. After the villagers launched a rights protection action, the local government sent police into the village to arrest and beat the villagers. In Fujian Fuzhou, 200 villagers defend their rights again after resettlement housing turned into shoddy housing. On July 10 and 12, about 200 villagers in Jidiao Village, Pington County, Fuzhou, Fujian, launched rights protection actions twice and sat in the Pington County Petition Bureau to protest that the resettlement housing they had waited for 11 years had turned into shoddy housing. Jixinyuan Community, a resettlement housing in Pington County, was found to have serious quality problems such as suspended load-bearing columns, cracks in the ceiling, and water seepage in the walls. As a result, 4 years after delivery, most villagers still dared not move in. During this period, the villagers had launched many rights protection actions, but no one paid attention. Students and teachers. On July 11, Mingrui Senior High School in Shenzhen, Guangdong, announced its closure without making arrangements for the students' whereabouts. Some students and parents gathered at the school to protest and demanded an explanation. In Nanchang, Jiangxi, on July 9, more than 100 former private, substitute, and kindergarten teachers from various districts and counties in Jiangxi went to the Jiangxi Letters and Calls Bureau to defend their rights and demanded that the government address their pension problems. Parents. In Guangzhou, Hebei, Parents block the school gate for days and demand a refund of tuition fees. From July 8 to 9, after Taihang Middle School in Guangzhou County, Qingtai, Hebei, was converted from private to public, parents blocked the school gate for 2 consecutive days, demanding that the school refund the tens of thousands of yuan in extra tuition fees. In Huizhou, Guangdong, on July 12 in Zhangkai High-Tech Zone, Huizhou, Guangdong, due to the local government's requirement for non-local students to withdraw from Social Security and return to their hometowns to study, some non-local students and parents launched a protest and pulled banners to block the talent building. Investors. In Shanghai, high-end wealth investors were put under house arrest and starved during rights protection. On July 12, investors of high-end wealth gathered again at the Shanghai Public Security Bureau Economic Investigation Corps, shouting slogans such as "Haiyan is a fraud, we demand a case to be filed," and demanded that the Public Security Bureau file a case. This is the latest round of rights protection actions initiated by investors since Haiyan's collapse in December last year. As in the past, investors were suppressed by the police during Friday's rights protection actions, and all investors who were defending their rights were forcibly escorted to Fengxian district for house arrest. During the house arrest, one investor fainted on the spot due to exhaustion caused by the police's refusal to provide food. In Xi'an, Hubei, thousands of direct sales users have been gathering for days to capture the head of Yongbida. From July 8 to 14, thousands of users of Zhuan Yongbida in Xi'an, Hubei, gathered in Taixifu community at the Letters and Calls Bureau and other places for a week to capture the head of Yongbida and ask for their money. On Wednesday and Thursday, Yongbida users who were defending their rights blocked traffic twice and clashed with the police. Since the direct sales company, which is headquartered in Tianjin and mainly sells in Hubei, went bankrupt, users have launched multiple actions to collect money in both places. Owners. In Hangzhou, Zhejiang, Longhu owners' rights protection suppressed and representatives arrested. On July 9, hundreds of owners of Longhu Tianxuan City in Hangzhou, Zhejiang, launched a rights protection action and gathered at Ping An Financial Center to protest against the developer's reduction of standards and specifications. During the protest, the rights-defending owners were suppressed by the police, and at least one rights-defending representative was arrested. In Shenyang, Liaoning, from July 8 to 9 at Shenbai Times Square in Shenyang, Liaoning, the rights-defending owners confronted the police who were demolishing their tents for 2 consecutive days. Due to the unfinished property, the owners of Shenbai Times Square set up tents in early June and have been living and eating in the sales office after many unsuccessful rights protection efforts, which have continued to this day. In Dandong, Liaoning, on July 9 in Dandong, Liaoning, owners of the unfinished country garden Zhongshan Yunzhu launched a rights protection action, pulling banners to block the gate of the Jiangxing district government and the traffic in front of the gate. In Changsha, Hunan, owners protested against the developer's collection of parking fees and were suppressed by the police. On July 10, in the Hangda Mingdu community in Wangchang District, Changsha, Hunan, owners were suppressed by a large number of police when they gathered to protest against the developer's collection of parking fees, and many people were arrested. In Tangshan, Hebei, owners' rights protection at the municipal government was suppressed by the police. On July 12, in Qianan City, Tangshan, Hebei, owners of Xinxiangyuan launched a rights protection action to protest against the developer's failure to apply for property certificates for the owners. During the protest, the rights-defending owners were suppressed by the police, and many were beaten and arrested. Beijing Shanghai department stores close in 3 months. Chinese youth scream on streets.
In China, the rise in homelessness is evident. People lack basic necessities like a home or even a dream for the future. Surviving each day becomes the primary goal, highlighting the dire situation many face. The economy is in shambles, with businesses struggling and factories closing down. This downturn leads to a decrease in purchasing power and a wave of bankruptcies across various sectors, including retail and real estate. Amidst this turmoil, individuals find themselves without a stable income, resorting to temporary jobs just to make ends meet. The term skilled individuals is used mockingly to describe those who wander the streets in search of work. These individuals, often without a fixed address, perpetuate a cycle of poverty, unable to escape the downward spiral. For those living on the streets, life is a constant struggle. They work sporadically, spending what little they earn on basic necessities like food and shelter. Many have been away from their families for years, unable to afford the journey home. They exist in a state of aimless drift, with no plans or dreams for the future. The government's neglect exacerbates the situation, leaving these individuals to fend for themselves. Some have resorted to selling their IDs to obtain loans, further trapping them in a cycle of debt. Despite their resilience, the lack of support and opportunities pushes them deeper into despair. How dire is the situation for businesses in the city? Let's examine the state of shopping malls in Shanghai. It's strikingly deserted in this vast mall. The only occupants are the sales staff. This image of a Shanghai shopping center was captured by a delivery person. There's a distinct lack of consumer activity. Not only is foot traffic virtually non-existent, but numerous products are also being offered at discounted prices, and the whereabouts of store attendants are uncertain. Even apparel and shoe stores are devoid of patrons. The individuals behind the video, these potential customers, are simply not engaging in spending. Women's clothing sales have plummeted, indicating a diminishing female consumer base. Consequently, the male consumer demographic is even further diminished. A prominent brand outlet sits vacant. Even dining establishments are reliant on sporadic takeout orders. Additionally, there are several storefronts available for rent, with owners hoping to recoup losses and stem financial hemorrhage. Retail activity in Shanghai is on a decline. Video footage from the CCF Shanghai International Daily Necessities Spring Fair shows a noticeable lack of visitors and buying activity. Even the once vibrant 818 Plaza on Ning West Road is now empty, with ground floor shops abandoned. This is surprising considering its prime location near the bustling Miaoming North Road pedestrian street and opposite the famous Wangjiasha Hongyi Automobiles flagship showroom. Some remnants of Hongyi logos can still be seen on the walls. Hongyi, an electric vehicle brand under the Evergrande Group, faced challenges due to Ever's financial troubles and delays in Hyundai's production, leading to a bleak market outlook. Questions arise as to why such a prime location remains unoccupied. Additionally, all shops on the second and third floors of the mall are closed, with the fourth floor mostly vacant except for a hair salon. On a typical Thursday afternoon, salon employees are seen lingering in front of the store. The closure of department stores in Shanghai has raised concerns about the city's economic downturn. On February 5, 2024, Shanghai's iconic department store, Shanghai 600, announced its closure. Locals lament the changes in the retail landscape as other stores like Pacific Department Store, Plaza 66, and Oriental Department Store have also lost their former glory. Many shops have shut down following the pandemic, signaling the end of the bustling atmosphere in historic Shujiahu. Reports suggest that Shanghai 600's employees are being laid off, with owners and managers disappearing after settling final severance payments. Additionally, Giordano Ladies, a high-end women's clothing brand under the Hong Kong Fashion Group, closed its Shanghai Gonghu Plaza store on March 26 after a decade of operation and several relocations. Shanghai's economy is struggling because foreign investment has decreased. A report by the Financial Times says that China, especially Shanghai, is not as appealing to foreign businesses anymore. This is because of strict policies like the Zero-COVID rule and laws against espionage. As a result, many foreign companies have left. A recent survey by the American Chamber of Commerce in Shanghai, which has 325 member companies, shows that only 52% of them feel positive about their business future in China over the next 5 years. This is the lowest level of optimism since the survey started in 1999. Despite hopes for a better year in 2023, business confidence has actually gone down. Both local and foreign companies are reconsidering their investments in China. The decline in the department store industry is not just happening in Shanghai. In Beijing, the Contemporary Mall closed down in December 2023 after being open for 28 years. Located in a prime area near universities and business districts, the mall faced challenges due to changing consumer preferences. As a response, the old department store decided to undergo renovations. In the year 2024, there has been a notable increase in the closure of supermarkets, particularly affecting the traditional large-scale markets. This trend underscores the formidable obstacles confronting the industry: a sluggish economy resulting in reduced consumer spending, heightened competition from new market entrants, and established stores grappling to adapt to evolving consumer preferences. The retail sector in China has borne the brunt of the pandemic, compelling the shutdown of numerous long-standing department stores. In the year 2022 alone, more than 40 department stores ceased operations, with 27 of them having served customers for over a decade. Subsequently, in 2023, over 20 department stores shuttered due to various factors such as lease expirations, management issues, or strategic adjustments. Fast forward to the present, 2024 witnesses the announcement of closure by 10 more long-standing department stores, with 5 closing down entirely and 5 undergoing refurbishments or redevelopment. The primary drivers behind these closures are the expiry of leases and the operational strains experienced by these stores. Adding to the industry's challenges are the formidable presence of e-commerce platforms, presenting a significant obstacle to traditional brick-and-mortar stores. A report issued by China's Central Enterprise CICC in 2024 reveals that a staggering 86.3% of department stores identify insufficient consumer spending as their foremost challenge. Despite an 8.8% increase in overall sales in 2023, nearly 70% of these stores report that foot traffic has yet to return to pre-pandemic levels, largely attributed to the dismal sales performance in 2022 amidst the pandemic-induced economic downturn. The confluence of high unemployment and meager wages further exacerbates the situation, constraining consumer purchasing power. Data from CICC for the year 2022 underscores this predicament, revealing that a majority of the population earns monthly incomes below 5,000 yuan. Economist Zhang Xiaonong highlights the alarming trend of China's dwindling middle class and shrinking wealthy elite, as evidenced by the declining number of billionaires globally and the diminishing wealth of affluent families. Zhang Xiao's research unveils the stark reality of China's impoverished middle class, burdened by an average debt of 2 million yuan per household. With a staggering 84% of the population categorized as impoverished, the government's policies, predominantly focused on bolstering manufacturing and domestic demand, fail to address the pressing needs of the populace. This lopsided approach risks perpetuating a cycle of borrowing and debt repayment, further exacerbating the economic woes. Despite grappling with inflation, China grapples with deflationary pressures stemming from subdued consumer spending, further compounded by the reluctance of consumers to make purchases amid falling prices. This challenging economic landscape has profound implications for businesses, impeding their ability to move inventory and impacting factory operations. Commentator Yuan warns that China's economy teeters on the brink of crisis, cautioning against the government's insular decision-making approach. Without a comprehensive understanding of the prevailing economic realities, China risks facing widespread social unrest in the near future.